of 2022. And I am super happy that we will be covering two very interesting topics, and that these calls will have two facilitators. So this is really amazing, and we will be exploring tools based on the frameworks that they will be presenting that are deep democracy and liberating structures. And we are here all to learn, to practice, and yeah, I just want to give the mic to Lean and to Jeremy because they will be leading these calls.
Yes. Thank you, Juan. Can everybody hear me? Because last time there was a bit of a problem. Is it okay? Cool. If there's a problem, just let me know. I have this fancy headset now, not like this, but at least like this. So yeah, very welcome in this space. We set up a first session, a bit of a container building, also for us a bit of a sensing the space. What are your needs? What would you love these sessions to be about? For the first round, the first session, we chose a couple of very practical brainstorm tools, and I think for all the rest of the practice groups, we're gonna experiment a lot with interactive tools. Some of them you will like, some of them you will hate. That's not really the point. We'll debrief them a little bit, zoom out. What is this for you? Would you be able to use it? And then you can go experiment yourself whenever you have a meeting, whenever you have anything going right. So that's the main idea. And I would love to start with the first tool that is called an inclusive welcome word. I don't know if you're familiar with that. In activist spaces, I've been part of Extinction Rebellion for quite a long time. We use that very often. So I would love to start with an inclusive welcome. So you can sit and relax for like a minute or so while I read the text. Jeremy, there's one sentence for you, so there, and listen carefully. So, welcome everyone in this first session of the Graviton practice group. I'm Lynn. I'm a deep democracy facilitator. I'm a technology avoider by nature and very bad at math and tech in general. I always need help. I'm holding the space with Jeremy. Jeremy, can you just fill up in one sentence who is Jeremy?
I'm not hearing Jeremy.
No.
No, I can't. In one sentence, no. I'm Jeremy.
Cool. Cool. So we want to express like out loud a very warm welcome to everybody here this morning or during the day, the afternoon, or this evening with a cup of tea. Maybe you just had your morning coffee or your afternoon dip, or you're a bit tired of the day already. Welcome everyone who is new in the DAO space, in this community maybe, just walks in by accident or feels, gee, what is this all about? Welcome to everyone who feels like a fish in the water in this community, or somewhere in between time zones, in between cultures, backgrounds, languages. Welcome in this unique mix of what we all are. Welcome to everyone who feels a bit old in the space, or feels young again being here. Welcome to alter egos, all those funny pictures I see everywhere. Multiple personalities, non binary identity. People juggling with multiple lives online and offline, searching for being as many yous as there are. Welcome to every aspect of your personalities, those who you want to show and those you don't want to show, that you want to hide. Welcome to change. Welcome to chaos that DAOs are so often. Welcome to feelings of whatever kind. Welcome to people good with words. Welcome to introverts. We take you on a journey with this session. of a couple of weeks to introduce some practical tools inspired by deep democracy and liberating structures that might help you include more voices in meetings. I think that's the main purpose of both liberating structures and deep democracy. Another goal is build the connections that you need to feel safe in this space. How do you do that in an online community? Build a connection that feels right for you. To take care of yourself and also of others. How do you do that? Taking care of others in an online space. And if needed, there will be conflicts to deal with. And then how do you do that in a good way? That was my inclusive welcome word. I zoom out a little bit. I use this, as I said, very often because it also allows people to arrive a bit in the space. When I use this inclusive welcome word, I try to pick up vibes, words that I heard before from being around in the space a little bit. And I try to include all of them in my welcome word so that I try to speak to everyone that I met before. Try to include. It's a difficult exercise. You can fail, but most of the time I have the experience people relate to one or two things that you said in the welcome word, which makes them feel safe and at home and heard a little bit better. Voilà. I also love writing those. It's a super cool preparation for any meeting, actually, to already think who's going to be in the meeting? How can I address them already before we start? Voilà. Okay.
And Lean, I'm inspired to think out loud. And what do you think about debriefing the welcome word itself?
Oh, love that. We haven't done a check-in yet, but love it. Love it.
So I just want to invite everybody in whatever form they feel comfortable with to think for a minute about what an inclusive welcome word like that makes possible. What does it enable? And take note of how it affected you, especially as an individual. And however you like, um, I would like to invite you to share that sensation or that sense of enablement with us. What does an inclusive welcome like this make possible? And whoever wants to go goes, and whoever wants to go next goes next.
I can take it. Yeah, for me, like when you have an inclusive welcome, it helps like the people who is joining the community uh, to feel their way and start contribute because but intrinsic motivated. It happened me in the TC, but also when I go to the park and I do calisthenics with the people in the calisthenic park. I feel like both communities were very I don't have the word anymore. Inclusive to me, and then I really get motivated, and it helped me to join the both worlds, and it was fantastic.
Thank you. For what that word that you might be searching for is invited. That was that's what was on the tip of my tongue, listening to you. Is there anybody else who wants to share what the inclusive welcome might have made possible for them?
I think something that especially the way that Lean facilitated it, adds a layer of being able to consent to how you show up. There's going to be days that you show up with more of yourself. There's going to be days that you need to have a little bit more containment. And I think that group processes can get complicated when we aren't mindful of that before we start working together. I'm frozen.
Awesome. So the invitation to show up how you show up that day. Thank you so much, Morgan. And on the flip side of that, I'd like to ask everyone to take note of what an inclusive welcome like that prevented. So what does it help us avoid as an individual and as a group as we get started? And whoever wants to go goes, and whoever wants to go next goes next.
Yeah, hi. Hello, everyone. I believe maybe that someone came into the community with some wall or a defensive wall to other people, maybe because he's too shy or too aggressive. I don't know. Maybe I think that.
So what I get from what you're offering, Mario, is this sense of um, sort of melting this defensive wall or that people might enter a space into.
Exactly.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Whoops. I was just gonna say that in the context of like, we're all showing up here to practice this, right? But if we're doing this in the context of like another meeting, it might not even for the people, like maybe for the people who would be focused, in the context of a regular meeting on something like really pushing for productivity and getting something done, it might frame that meeting in a way that not only, makes everyone feel welcome, but then it might reframe that person's mind who is coming into it hyper focused on getting something specific done, or just anything. It might allow them to be more open to someone coming in that might not be able to be fully engaged, and being okay with that.
Thank you, Benz. What I really appreciate in that is this sense of like zooming out of my narrow focus and sort of seeing the larger context. So thanks for bringing that in. So that's a debrief. Anybody else, actually, before I just go moving on?
Or anybody who has a like completely different voice, or no voice, or like, what is this? Nobody thinks this is soft bullshit, too much wool around.
No, I'm freaking out. I want everyone to know everything about this instantly, and I'm trying to keep quiet about it.
Thanks, Durgatus. I appreciate your enthusiasm. Well, that's a debrief. Actually, there's one question I want to introduce to this pattern of debriefing as well, which is, can anybody think of a context for themselves where an inclusive welcome like this might be helpful? And I'll just give us a minute to sort of contemplate. If ever anybody wants to share out, that's cool. If not, just consider where you might make use of a pattern like this.
Well, if I'm desperate, I'm not what I'm doing maybe with my life or whatever. I'm just being dramatic. But and I'm enter here looking for something to see if maybe this is another way to live my life. And I hear that I believe could be really, really powerful for me entering the TEC.
Thank you.
So if you would hear more of these welcome words, you would feel more empowered in the community.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Okay.
if I'm not, if I don't know what I'm doing out of this TC word, and I came here and I hear that, I will be like in peace,
Mhm.
knowing that I'm entering in a place that cares about other people and empathy to the others.
Mhm.
Great to hear. Well, gang, thanks very much for entertaining the first debrief of the day. And now I guess it's a good time to check in, right, Lean?
Yes. I'm just gonna add one thing, especially with that tiny voice of this contrasts with our efficiency, right? And there is so much that needs to be done, and it's that voice of wanting to be efficient and moving and moving and moving is very present in the space. I feel I plead guilty. Um, what you can do in the welcoming word is name some of the things that you heard in the last meeting, but bring it back to the group and hear voices that were present in the last meeting. So already introduce a tiny bit the topics that are going to be discussed via the inclusive welcome, but still in a very soft way, but so that those people that are, on the tip of their chair to start working, hear that you hear them as well, that you hear the urgency and that you answer also later to their voice and their needs. So it's a way of building a sort of a bridge between those two polarities of efficiency and well being, because sometimes they are contrasting each other a little bit in the space. So it might be a nice bridge in that way as well. All right, let's check in. The check-in, a check-in question that I thought of today is what's the weather inside of you like today? So what kind of weather do you have going on today? Not so much in outside when you look outside the window, but in you. And how would you describe that? And I will hit off, so I give an example. I think today has this. It's quite windy inside, like a wind that pushes me and gets me really active. But it's also the kind of weather that it's a bit foggy too. It's very much in need of a lot of sunshine to get the necessary vitamins to really keep up with the action that this wind is pushing me towards. So that's the weather like for me today. And I'm going to pass the word to Jeremy.
Thank you, Lean. I definitely recognize this sense of wind, right? For me, it's the wind is it's a gusty day, right? So it not only has just a large volume of wind, it has a lot of ebb and flow. So some moments I'm just sort of walking along and there's a light gentle breeze and then I'm almost shoved over by this gust of wind at my back. And with that, I will pass it over to Juan Carlos.
Yeah, I would say that I feel calm, but like after the storm. So it's like you always say, like, yeah, after the storm is where calm is where you can see calm. And I feel like last weeks were a very stormy weeks, but I feel like right now we are starting to feel more calm. And like, yeah, like last week's, it was a very big push from my side to place the proposal in the gardens, to um, have these two amazing facilitators coordinating with them so that they lead these calls. And now I feel calm because I feel supported by Jeremy and by Lynn, and that I am learning a lot with them. But it's that calm that comes after the storm. Like it's I am really happy to see you participating here in these activities, and I am sure that we will grab more attention as we continue with this session. So thank you. And yeah, I would say that calm after the storm. And I will pass it to Durgadas.
Durgadas, before you go, I see that there's some new people that have arrived in the call, if I'm not mistaken. For the new arrivers, we're in the check-in, and the question is, what's the weather like for you today? And it's Durgadas' turn, so he will tell you how to check in. Or, I mean, he will give an example. Go, Durgadas.
Yeah, I feel like there's a stimulus and there's a response, and I feel like liberating structures are an excellent response to the events of the week. Also, yeah, I'm compartmentalizing a little bit because I'm dealing with some personal drama, so I'm putting on a brave face about it all, and trying to continue being supportive of folks here in this community. So I'll pass it to Zeptimus.
Thanks, Durgadas. Yeah, my weather is like I'm pretty chill person. I'm a bit jealous, like I'm not in Denver. See all the pictures there. In the basketball the match where Griff and everyone were there. I think that's awesome. I mean, it's awesome to see also. Yeah, definitely would love to be there. But yeah, I mean, chill. Everything's great. I'll pass it to Gustavo.
Hello. What's the dynamic right now? I just joined. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we're in the middle of the check-in question, and the check-in question is that you look or that you describe what the weather is like for you today. So it could be windy or sunny or cloudy or foggy or anything like that, and then maybe you can add a tiny sentence why that is. So you can use the weather to describe how you are today.
Okay. Yeah. So the weather today is pretty shiny, sunny, and warm. And yeah, I think that relates with. I'm working right now on some art pieces, which I'm gonna be sending out to people that have bought them, and I just been having like a very relaxed and good time this week, and very eager to know what's going on around the different groups in the TET. And I don't know who's already participated. I don't know if maybe Lean, you can to
Can I
the
pass it
person who has
on?
not participated. Yeah, go ahead.
Metodo, are you there?
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. For me, I would say it's getting dark, although it's not windy or it's kind of chill. And but I would say that the day has been windy, like with many things going on, and I still feel that tomorrow will be similar. So it's kind of as Juanca was saying, like kind of calm, but between storms. I pass it to Mario.
Thank you. I will say windy all over the place. Yeah, there's a lot things going on right now, so I'd say windy. And pass it to Ginesi Mota.
All I'm hearing is static. Anybody else?
Audio is broken. Yeah, me too.
Unesi, can you hear us?
Apparently, yes.
Hey,
what about now?
Yes, better.
Better, okay. awesome. So I was saying that today is the time for me. I'm feeling cheerful, optimistic. Um, I feel warm. I think it is because I'm learning new things and connecting with amazing people. That is that makes me feel welcome, and that's something cool. Speaking about welcome, I think I'm the last one.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you all for sharing. I'll just give a little bit back of what we've heard. I've heard a lot of wind, a lot of windy people or windy days. Not windy people, maybe, but windy days. So it means that for many people, it's quite busy, I hear at the moment, in between projects, in between storms. And that does something to our minds, to how we are present here. Maybe we're occupied with stuff that is outside of us. And then there was this one tiny other voice that says, like, there is some bit more calm. So also that is present in this group today. Voilà. Jeremy, you want to add something? Or is that also what you heard?
Yeah, that's also what I heard. This sense of windiness as well as calm and sun on the other side, which is also a good thing to point at. We're going to be working with this concept of polarity a lot as we go through and explore deep democracy. So just taking note of the things that seem quite different from each other, and figuring out a way to sort of bring our attention into the fact that there seems to be some contradiction, some tension, could be imagined between these two opposite things. So how can we just hold on to them and be present with both of them, so that we have an opportunity to avoid excluding one side or the other of the experience that is here with us. So.
Yes. And as a participant in these kinds of check-ins, you could actually very much listen into the other ones and listen to that. What are the similar things that I hear in everybody's story? Windy was very similar here. And then what is that tiny other voice? Because it does bring down what they would call the waterline of the group. You start recognizing what is present in the group and where you can go that day with the group, what is possible in the group. Will a lot of people pick up a lot of tasks? If it's very windy, probably not. If everybody's calm, maybe yes, right? So it gives you a lot of information of where the group might be willing to go that day. Okay. A little debrief. And I'm especially curious about how did it feel for you to use a metaphor to describe how you are today? Most people did it, others didn't, and I know that it's a bit tricky. Sometimes it's not a right tool for everybody to check in with a description of the weather or an animal. There's a lot of different versions of this. How was that? Does it resonate with you? Would you use it yourself? Did it feel comfortable or uncomfortable for you to do? Any feedback on this tool?
Yeah,
I can actually. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Durga.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, it feels. I realized that I didn't know what the right metaphor was to describe how I was feeling. So, but until after I'd heard everyone else. So I think the idea of here is maybe a lighthouse on a stormy sea. So, yeah, that's kind of my thing. That's I think part of the reason why autism is acting up maybe this morning. So that's why I was more specific rather than using the metaphor. Typically, I'm the other way around, but my current emotional state makes it harder. So thanks.
Add to that it's not common for me to use metaphors for describing emotions. I'm very literal for describing emotions. So yeah, it's a bit hard for me to link like weather with an emotion. So, but yeah, it's a interesting exercise to do.
Any other thoughts on this? No? Okay.
It was fun.
Mario? Yeah, go ahead.
It was fun. I think it was fun.
Fun. Okay, cool.
It also made me realize that how I feel today is a product of how I've been feeling last weeks.
Cool. All right, let's move to a next exercise. If anything comes up about this at the end, you can still share an idea or a thought about this using metaphors like the weather to check in. Let's go to, if you're in the slides or if you are not, I see about 5 people in it. We shared in the Gravity text channel, we shared a Google slide presentation. It would be amazing if you could go there. If you want, I can drop it there again. Let's see who is in.
Could someone share the screen for that? I'm not on a laptop now.
Okay, I see. Jeremy, would you mind sharing your screen? Would you do that? Cool, thank you. Okay, for the ones that are in the Google Doc, on slide 6, we're gonna, and 7 actually, we're gonna do a little brainstorm about safe spaces in online communities. And for this brainstorm, we're gonna use a little technique, the post-its that are used very often by facilitators in real life meetings. And this is, I would say, the online version, the digital version of using post-its to brainstorm. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to think about what makes you feel safe in an environment. It can be anything, anything you would need to feel safe, and what makes you feel unsafe in an online environment. It can be behavior of people, it can be techniques that are used, it can be in the meeting notes, it can be anything, right? So think a little bit, take a little bit of time to think for yourself. Try to come up with 2-3 things. What you do to answer is you pick a post-it. People are doing it already. You pick a post-it and you type it there, and then you adjust it a little bit to the page, make it a little bit smaller or adjust the font to that. And then on 7 is unsafe, and 6 is what makes you feel safe, right? So that's the first phase of the exercise. We are gonna give you, I'm gonna time it a bit. Yeah, 3 minutes. I think that 3 minutes might be enough. It's 38.
Where is this document?
You can find it in the Gravity text channel.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Maybe also some answers on the unsafe part. Okay. If you somehow wrote everything down that you wanted for safe and unsafe, you can take a minute and read the answers of the others. And I added a little voting system there to see how many people think alike. So if you agree a lot with what somebody else said there, you can drag or take a little star that is in the right corner. You take a little star and you drag it to the answer. So if you agree, for example, non-constructive criticism, and then I put a little star close to it. It's a little voting system.
Oh, sorry. It is time to vote.
Um, yeah, I think we are voting. But how many stars do we have each? One or two?
Oh yeah, I was just grabbing stars and putting them on everything I agree with. So,
Me
are we
too.
only supposed to use the one? Sorry.
I was copying pasting, so if there was
Me
supposed
too.
to be a number.
I'm all for star anarchy. As many stars as you want to have.
So how many stars do we have? Like, or how many stars should we be using?
The stars are free. There's no star limit. We are in a post-scarcity economy here. Here comes the stars, guys.
You get a star, and you get a star.
I wrote mine on the chat. If anyone can paste them there.
Hi there. Can you hear me? Yes. I don't know. I got thrown out. I'm on my phone. Anyway.
We hear you.
Okay, cool. And it's funny.
Bye bye.
Right. It's funny. I wanted to return to the call and read some answer for people that were on their phones or had difficulty seeing the screens. And at that moment, bam, I lost all connections.
I like a lot this exercise because I think there have been other sessions where I have been participating where people is reflecting on what makes you feel safe, but this other side of what makes you feel unsafe, I think it's the first time that I am like reflecting on this, and I think it's really important.
Any other feedback?
I don't know if we're going to go in order, but continuing with what I said of how asking myself what makes me feel unsafe in an online environment. Um, I don't know. I also um, imagine not only an online community, but like technology itself. It's it's um, it's sometimes hard to manipulate. So, what makes me feel unsafe when I don't have like a proper management of the tools, and maybe I'm scared of maybe clicking on something without knowing, or maybe yeah, getting to something dangerous with just because of being curious. And yeah, I think that's something that happens also with the dark web. It's and this connects to what makes me feel safe in a community is boundaries. um, and when I resonate with the narrative and the ideas shared, because when there are no boundaries, um, people tend to show not only um, like what could be culturally interesting, but also some dark sides that sometimes can affect the interactions with others. And I feel that sometimes we have to have like also a small boundary within ourselves of what do we share and what do we keep for ourselves, because even though that we want to be radically transparent, there's always things that we cannot bring to the table, and there are something beliefs or ideas that can be sensitive in the space. And I say this relating also to a situation that happened with ENS, where like there was not understanding of multiple points of view, and there was somehow an imposition of a point of view. And I think that's also something that makes me feel unsafe in an online environment, when people is absolutely sure or certain or cocky about their knowledge, because when someone is not able to self reflection or to notice its own um, small or weak points, um, they maybe there's something that they might not be looking at, and they, because I think like knowledge is like a crystal castle that we make in our mind, and we can make it really really big, but it's a crystal castle in the sense that it's very fragile, and sometimes people just think that what they have in their mind is what it is in reality. But yeah, I like to think that what we have in our mind is different from the complexity that is outside of us. So yeah, when I feel that people um, they think they know all the answers, I feel unsafe in that scenario, because they are not leaving a space for reflection. um yeah.
Thank you for voicing those, Juan. I recognize the knowledge, the image you put there, and also the last part you said, people that show that they know everything. But the first part about the boundaries, I don't see immediately as well as you said it in the unsafe slide. So can I invite you to add it a little bit about setting your own boundaries in the first part of what you said? Would you mind adding it in a couple of words to the slide,
Yeah.
so that it's that we keep it and we take it as a good voice to take with us?
Perfect.
Good. Thank you. Yeah, I'm looking a bit at the time. Let me see. I have prepared another 2 spectrum lines. I'm gonna drop one, and I'm gonna pick this one. Voilà. Okay, so let's do it like this. Let's introduce one more tiny thing, because it's a very quick thing to feel where the group is at this very moment. It's a spectrum line. What I invite you to do in this, and I saw in one of the slides, I don't know which one, that privacy or being anonymous is very important in this group, that it's very present. So I'm gonna invite you in slide 9 to express if you feel hurt in the community, yes or no. And you see a line in the middle of the slide. On the left, you see a no. On the right, you see a yes. You just take, I'll do an example. So you just take a text slide like this, right? I'm going to write my name there in the middle because I don't mind. If you do mind putting your name there, you just write an X because it's not important that we can see who it is. We really want to feel what is in the group at this very moment. And the question is, I feel hurt in the community or in the group of people I work with. Ah, voilà. Thank you, Jeremy. I guess it's Jeremy doing this. You can also just drag a star to whichever side you want. Slide 9, I feel hurt in this community or in the group of people I work with. Yes or no? I'm taking a couple of seconds to think.
And Lean, considering this is going so fast, I would be really curious to if we could reinsert that other question that you had.
What was it again?
I feel like I can say what needs to be said.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Slide, duplicate. I feel I can say what needs to be said in this. Okay, so slide 10 has another question. I'm just not sure. I think these are not used, right? Gonna remove them. So I'm gonna put them all back in the middle here. So on slide 10, you get the same exercise, but I feel I can say what needs to be said in this community. So drag a star or your name to whichever side you like.
There's a question that arises to me um, with this question, and is that I feel that I can say whatever I want to if I express myself in the correct way. But I also feel that sometimes we fail is in the way we are delivering our message, because yeah, sometimes we can say something that can be said, but with a violent language, and that would immediately transform what I said, even though that I had a good intention, in something that cannot be said. But if I look for the correct words and the correct way of delivering the message, yeah, I feel so it's not only what can be said or what needs to be said in the community, but also if I feel that I can express with clarity my ideas, and with the proper language and narrative, and to the proper ears, because also, like, sometimes we say something to someone, and that is not heard, but we say that's exact same thing to other person, and then we receive the ears we didn't get. So I also feel that sometimes what needs to be said can be said if we are very strategic. So it's not that there are things that cannot be said. It's that how can we be strategic with our communication?
Okay. Yeah, what I hear
There's
is
a lot
that
of nuance in there. Thank you.
yes. I wanted to say the exact thing like, gee, it's complex indeed. It's very complex,
Can I
depending on the
add something
context.
to that?
Yes.
Just based off of what Juan was saying. I'm sorry, I'm just going to share my screen here. A lot of times, you know, I'll show up with something saying I'd like to take some action to benefit others and give something, right? But it's also true that the people, you know, need to be available to accept that, right? So what he was saying in terms of, you know, so there's a consent question there, and that's also, you know, allowing versus taking, you know, and then when you get outside of the consent side of the picture, there are certain, you know, negative things that can happen in terms of how that works. So, you know, I thought, you know, maybe that might help what Juan was saying in terms of, you know, because I find I'm often, you know, somebody's trying to give me something, but I'm not yet ready to accept it. Similarly, I find myself in the position of trying to give things to other people, but they aren't ready to accept it. So I think often that's a dynamic that we have to be sensitive to in terms of safety as well.